One day, a person can be on top of the world. The next day, they can be dead. Life can be incredibly cruel that way for pretty much anyone, and of course, even the most famous people aren't exempt from this. In fact, if anything, the public is paying a whole lot of extra attention to celebrities who perish when they're still young and at the height of their powers. No matter how famous they used to be, it can be easy to forget some of the celebrities who lived and died many years ago. Some of the stars on this list have endured throughout the decades, their names cast in the bronze of legend long after their deaths. Others used to be the toast of the town, but have fallen into comparative obscurity since they passed away. Others still are well-known names, but you might not be aware of the tragic circumstances of their early deaths. Hollywood once celebrated them all, but they ended up sharing the same fate. They were all classic stars who died at the peak of their fame. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow remains one of classic Hollywood's most enduring icons, celebrated for her platinum blonde hair, vivacious screen presence, and her status as the original blonde bombshell. Born Harlan Harlow Carpenter on March 3, 1911, in Kansas City, Missouri, Harlow moved to Los Angeles in the late 1920s to pursue a career in acting. Her rise to fame was meteoric. She quickly became a favorite among filmmakers and audiences alike for her charisma and beauty. Harlow's breakthrough came with her role in Hell's Angels, 1930, where her on-screen charm captivated audiences despite the film's focus on aviation and wartime drama. She solidified her star status with leading roles in Red Dust in 1932, alongside Clark Gable, and Dinner at 8, 1933, where her performances showcased both her comedic timing and dramatic flair. Her portrayal of the spirited and independent female leads resonated deeply during the Great Depression, providing audiences with both escapism and inspiration. Off-screen, Harlow's personal life was as glamorous and tumultuous as her on-screen persona. She was married 3 times, with her relationships often making headlines and contributing to her public image as a quintessential Hollywood starlet. Harlow was also known for her lavish lifestyle, which included multiple residences, luxury cars, and a keen interest in fashion and social events. Tragically, Jean Harlow's career and life were cut short on June 7, 1937, when she succumbed to kidney failure at the age of just 26. While officially diagnosed with nephritis, some speculate that Harlow's heavy drinking and use of painkillers may have exacerbated her condition, leading to her untimely death. Her passing sent shockwaves through Hollywood, as she was at the peak of her career, with several high-profile projects lined up. Thelma Todd. Thelma Todd, often hailed as the blonde bombshell of the early 1930s, was a beloved comedic actress whose vibrant energy and impeccable timing made her a staple in Hollywood's golden age. Born Thelma Williams on July 29, 1906, in Olathe, Kansas, Todd transitioned from vaudeville stages to the silver screen with remarkable ease, quickly becoming a favorite in comedic roles. Todd's filmography is adorned with successful collaborations alongside other comedy legends such as Laurel and Hardy, Wheeler and Woolsey, and Joe E. Brown. Her performances in Platinum Blonde, 1931, and The Penguin Pool Murder, 1932, showcased her versatility, allowing her to oscillate seamlessly between slapstick humor and more nuanced comedic expressions. Her ability to infuse humor with genuine warmth endeared her to audiences and solidified her status as a leading lady in comedy. Despite her professional success, Todd's personal life was fraught with challenges. She struggled with financial difficulties and personal relationships, often facing public scrutiny and rumors that added strain to her off-screen persona. Her relationships were closely followed by the media, contributing to the pressures she faced in maintaining her image and career. On December 16, 1935, Thelma Todd was found dead in her garage apartment in Los Angeles, having died from carbon monoxide poisoning. While the official cause was ruled as accidental due to faulty heating systems, the circumstances surrounding her death have been the subject of much speculation and intrigue. Some theories suggest foul play, possibly linked to mob connections or disputes within her personal life. although no definitive evidence has ever emerged to substantiate these claims. Todd's mysterious death at the young age of 29 left a lasting impression on Hollywood, turning her into a figure of both admiration and enduring mystery. Carole Lombard. Carole Lombard was an early Hollywood comedy juggernaut who was nominated for an Oscar for her role in 1936's My Man Godfrey. Since her husband happened to be Clark Gable, she was also one half of Tinseltown's hottest couple. Unfortunately, her career and life were cut short on January 16, 1942, when the 33-year-old superstar and her mother were aboard a plane that crashed near Las Vegas. Lombard wasn't really supposed to be on this particular plane. She was an active fundraiser for the U.S. after Pearl Harbor and had been touring the country to sell war bonds. However, after a massively successful event in Indiana, she decided to change her plans and surprise Gable by returning to Los Angeles earlier than expected. To do this, she and her mother stepped on the first available plane, TWA Flight 3. The flight's first two legs went without incident, but during a stop in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Lombard and her mother were asked to wait for the next plane due to an overbooking issue. However, unwilling to delay her return, she arranged for them to stay on board Flight 3. After starting the trip's last leg from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, the plane veered off course in the darkness and crashed into a mountain, killing everyone on board. The destruction was so total that when Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios' representative arrived on the scene, all he could find was a lock of hair that may or may not have belonged to Lombard. Rudolph Valentino. Few can hold a torch to Rudolph Valentino when it comes to star power. He was not only Hollywood's arguably greatest sex symbol at the time of his death, but his demise was so surprising and dramatic that its cause was named after him. Valentino rose to fame from unlikely beginnings. At first, he worked as a gardener and as a dance partner to socialite women at a prominent New York nightclub, but moved to Los Angeles to flee a scandal involving one of these ladies who murdered her husband. His Hollywood breakthrough was 1921's The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and he went on to make multiple movies nearly every year until his death. Known as the Great Lover, or the Latin Lover, the Italian-born actor was as popular as a movie star could be during this particular era of Hollywood. His star, however, didn't burn for long. Valentino died on August 23, 1926, after a ruptured ulcer gave him peritonitis, an inflammation of the membrane that lines the abdomen. Though he seemed to be on the mend after the initial operation, the ensuing sepsis eventually killed him. The condition became known as Valentino's syndrome. The actor's fans had already been waiting with bated breath for news of their idol, and when Valentino's days at the hospital ended with his death at just 31, many broke into hysterics and even self-harm. Estimates vary on how many people attended Valentino's funeral, but the number may have been as high as 100,000. George Reeves. Before Superman and icons like De Niro, Brando, and Dean, there was George Reeves, the original Man of Steel whose tragic and mysterious death continues to intrigue Hollywood enthusiasts. Born George Kiefer Brewer on June 5, 1914, in Stuffington, Kansas, Reeves rose to fame in the 1950s with his portrayal of Superman in the television series Adventures of Superman. His charismatic performance captivated audiences, making him an enduring symbol of heroism and hope during a time of post-war optimism. Reeves' career extended beyond Superman, as he sought to establish himself as a versatile actor in both film and television. Despite his on-screen success, Reeves faced personal challenges, including managing his public persona and navigating the pressures of fame. His dedication to his craft was evident, but the transition from a beloved superhero to more diverse roles proved difficult, limiting his opportunities in Hollywood. Tragically, on June 16, 1959, George Reeves was found dead in his Los Angeles home from a gunshot wound to the head. The Los Angeles Police Department ruled his death a suicide, citing Reeves' personal struggles and the pressures of his career. However, controversy and speculation have surrounded his demise for decades. Friends, family, and fans have questioned the official account, suggesting possible foul play or unresolved personal conflicts that may have contributed to his untimely death. Various theories have emerged, including professional jealousy, personal vendettas, and hidden aspects of Reeves's private life. Yet no definitive evidence has surfaced to challenge the homicide ruling. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe's untimely death easily ranks among old Hollywood's greatest examples of a superstar dying too soon. Her final full-length movie, 1961's The Misfits, still ranks among the best Marilyn Monroe movies, and her enduring place among Tinseltown's biggest legends is a testament of her sheer star power, as are her numerous awards and nominations. Officially, Monroe was found dead in her own bed on August 5, 1962, having died of an overdose of prescription medication a few hours before her psychiatrist found her body. Monroe was nude and disheveled and was holding a telephone receiver in one hand. The dramatic circumstances of the star's death, combined with a period of seclusion preceding it, caused considerable attention and plenty of speculation about the last turbulent months of her life and the exact nature of her death. Though she was a true Hollywood legend, Monroe's real-life story was very tragic, from her childhood in various foster homes to a personal life that was effectively a series of unfortunate and sometimes abusive relationships and affairs. She also had addiction and mental health issues. Her dramatic story, high public profile, and death at just 36 years old have attracted all sorts of conspiracy theories over the years, with the wildest ones suggesting that she was murdered, either by a member of the Kennedy family or one of their affiliates to conceal her rumored affair with John F. Kennedy, or by an influential organization such as the Mafia or the CIA to influence Kennedy in some way. James Dean. James Dean is one of the ultimate examples of a legendary Hollywood career cut short. Dean's tragic real-life story ended in a fiery crash while he drove his new Porsche 550 Spyder on Route 466 in California with the intention of participating in a race in Salinas. The road was difficult, and the Spyder was fast. What's more, while Dean was an enthusiastic racer, he was still unfamiliar with the intricacies of the vehicle he called Little Bastard. All of these factors conspired to cause a worst-case scenario when the light and low Spyder collided headfirst into a much larger Ford, which sent the Porsche spinning and crashing into a ditch. Dean's passenger, mechanic Rolf Wutherick, flew out of the car and sustained nasty injuries, but ultimately survived the ordeal. The actor himself was less fortunate and was crushed by the car. Dean died on September 30, 1955, at 24 years old. While he had only one movie under his belt, said movie was East of Eden and had made him one of the hottest new faces in Hollywood. Rebel Without a Cause and Giant went on to establish his legacy and legend, and he earned posthumous Academy Award nominations for 2 of his 3 movies. Incidentally, Little Bastard also developed a reputation. The car from Dean's fatal crash is said to be cursed, and several people who have owned or handled it or used its salvaged parts have been in mysterious and sometimes fatal car-related accidents. Lupe Velez. Lupe Velez might not have the kind of contemporary name recognition some of the other actors on this list enjoy, but she was a big deal back in the day. She made 45 movies, dated people like Gary Cooper and Tarzan star Johnny Weissmuller, and has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She started out as a dancer before relocating to California from her native Mexico, and soon transitioned into movie acting. She became a famous star, and also developed a reputation as an impulsive and temperamental character who wasn't afraid to charm and challenge even the biggest male stars of the era, but who was also known for her down-to-earth attitude, often preferring the company of the filming crew while working, instead of isolating herself in a star bubble. While Velez was famous, she wasn't always respected. As a rare Latina star in the era's Hollywood, she was generally typecast as stereotypical Mexican women, as seen in her best-known film series, 1939's The Girl from Mexico and its many sequels, aka the Mexican Spitfire films. A certain lack of respect also followed her early demise. On December 14, 1944, the heartbroken Velez, who was 36 years old and 4 months pregnant, died of suicide after her lover, Harold Ramond, refused to marry her. Unfortunately, Hollywood Babylon author Kenneth Anger, later started a false but enduring rumor that Velez had actually drowned in her own toilet. Lon Chaney. Lon Chaney's chosen avenue of acting might not have made his face immediately recognizable, but it could have kept him in the business for several more decades if it wasn't for his early and shocking death. A pioneer of movie makeup and grotesque transformations, Chaney wowed and terrified audiences with his gruesome yet nuanced characters in films like 1923's The Hunchback of Notre Dame and 1925's The Phantom of the Opera. However, what truly set the older Chaney apart was the fact that, while he often used extensive makeup for his characters, he wasn't reliant on such tactics and was perfectly able to deliver great performances with or without extreme transformations. Film fans who are even cursorily familiar with classic 1920s cinema are no doubt familiar with Chaney as the Man of a Thousand Faces, but it might surprise them to hear that the actor also ranks among the tragic group of Hollywood stars who died before their time. Chaney died at age 47 on August 26, 1930. He had been greatly weakened by cancer and pneumonia, and ultimately died of a hemorrhage in his throat. Though he fell ill and died in what may very well have been his professional prime, his legendary talent endures, and he remains one of the best-known Hollywood stars of his era. His son, Lon Chaney Jr., eventually went on to portray such classic movie monsters as The Wolfman, Frankenstein's Monster, and The Mummy. Jane Mansfield. Arguably, no celebrity death was more tragic or gruesome than that of screen starlet Jane Mansfield. The 1967 fatal car accident was so horrible that it incited rumors about curses and decapitation that still persist today. Jane Mansfield was born on April 19, 1933, in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, originally named Vera Jane Palmer. At 17, she married Paul Mansfield, and by 21, she was a wife and mother arriving in Hollywood. Initially struggling to find roles, Mansfield leveraged her assets, becoming one of the earliest Playboy bunnies and Playboy's Playmate of the Month in February 1955. That year marked her big-screen debut with roles in Pete Kelly's Blues and Illegal, alongside her divorce from Paul Mansfield. Mansfield marketed herself as Hollywood's newest blonde bombshell, challenging Marilyn Monroe after signing a 6-year contract with 20th Century Fox in 1956. Despite Monroe dismissing her as a cheap imitation, Mansfield carved out her own legacy with films like The Girl Can't Help It. In 1958, she married Hungarian bodybuilder Mickey Hargitay, with whom she had 3 children, including Mariska Hargitay. They divorced in 1964, and Mansfield married Matt Cimber, having a son before their 1966 divorce. On June 29, 1967, while traveling from a nightclub in Biloxi to New Orleans, her Buick Electra crashed into a trailer truck in thick fog. Mansfield, her boyfriend Sam Brody, and driver Ronald Harrison died instantly. The gruesome crash fueled enduring rumors and led to safety changes in semi-truck designs, now known as Mansfield bars, ensuring no one else endures her tragic fate. Judy Garland. Judy Garland is nothing short of a legend due to her starring role as Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz alone, but she was a prominent force in Hollywood well after that movie, and right up until her early death. Garland deftly transitioned from a popular young star to a nuanced performer who scored 2 Academy Award nominations for her roles in 1955's A Star is Born and 1962's Judgment at Nuremberg. Apart from acting, Garland also juggled a prominent music career and a turbulent personal life. On June 22, 1969, she died after accidentally overdosing on barbiturates. She was 47 years old. Garland worked hard and had many health issues over the course of her life. Her stressful career was so full of high and low points that it's hard to pinpoint the single greatest moment of her storied and multifaceted life. However, judging by the fact that some 20,000 people turned up for her funeral, she was definitely very popular at the time of her death. Junior Durkin. Junior Durkin was a prominent young actor of the 1930s. After Coogan grew out of his child star days, he went on to have a prolific career, and even scored a truly iconic character when he played Uncle Fester in the 1960s Addams Family TV show. On May 4th of that year, Durkin and Coogan were in a car with Coogan's father, John, and two others when they suddenly had to avoid hitting another vehicle. This sent them hurtling off the road, crashing into some rocks, and rolling down into a nearby creek. Durkin was thrown from the car and died. Most others in the car fared no better, and the relatively uninjured Jackie Coogan was the only survivor of the accident. Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was a particularly unfortunate example of a star who died at the peak of his fame. In his case, while death came at the peak of his career, his fame was posthumously launched into a full-on global celebrity status that he never got to enjoy, since he died a mere month before his smash hit Hollywood film Enter the Dragon premiered. The truth behind Lee's tragic death at 32 on July 20, 1973, is complicated. Much like Marilyn Monroe, Lee died in bed in his 30s. Likewise, both stars' deaths attracted vast attention. In Lee's case, his cause of death, a cerebral edema that may or may not have been caused by an allergic reaction to pain pills, was and remains so mysterious that researchers are still coming up with new theories on Lee's sudden death 5 decades later. Combine this with the fact that the particular bed Lee died in belonged to his mistress, actor Betty Ting Pei, and it's no surprise that Lee's untimely death became the stuff of legends. In the wake of his death, the public became extremely eager to learn everything they could about the martial arts star. This has also contributed to the various legends and rumors surrounding him. The demand for information created a steady supply of largely fictionalized stories and biographies, some of which contained claims about his life and death that have become entwined in his personal mythology. John Garfield. Before Penn and De Niro, before Brando and Dean, there was John Garfield. Virtually forgotten today, he introduced intense realism to movie acting in the 1940s, inspiring later stars with his training and talent. However, just as Garfield's career was soaring, he became a victim of the notorious Red Scare in the early 50s, abruptly ending his promising trajectory. Born Jacob Julius Garfinkel in 1913 to Russian Jewish immigrants, Garfield grew up in poverty on New York City's Lower East Side. His mother died when he was 7, leading him to move among various relatives. By his early teens, he had joined a gang and was expelled from multiple schools, eventually attending PS 45 for troubled youth. In 1950, Garfield was blacklisted after being named in red channels, refusing to testify before the House Un-American Activities Committee. His career was destroyed. The immense stress led to his separation from his wife and, tragically, his death from a heart attack in May 1952 at just 39. Natalie Wood. It's been more than 40 years since film icon Natalie Wood drowned off the coast of California's Catalina Island at the age of 43. Her death was ruled an accident at the time, but decades later, questions persist about what truly happened that night. Was it a tragic accident, or was foul play involved? The new HBO documentary, Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind, released on May 5, 2020, delves into her life and the mysteries surrounding her death, including her stepfather, Robert Wagner's rumored involvement. On November 28, 1981, Natalie Wood was on a weekend trip to Catalina with her husband, Robert Wagner, aboard his 55-foot yacht, Splendor. Also present were the ship's captain, Dennis Davern, and actor Christopher Walken, who was filming Brainstorm with Wood. Wood was celebrating her rekindled marriage to Wagner. That night, after an argument between Wagner and Walken, Wood left the party. Wagner reported that she was missing when he went to bed. Authorities found her body the next morning at 8 a.m., a mile from the yacht, with a small dinghy nearby. The post-mortem revealed bruises and an abrasion, leading the coroner to rule her death accidental, caused by slipping and drowning while intoxicated. In November 2011, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department reopened Wood's case after receiving new information. Captain Davern suggested Wagner might have been responsible, alleging an argument led to her disappearance. Wagner's publicist denied involvement, while Walken maintained he knew nothing about the incident. In February 2018, Wagner was named a person of interest. Investigators noted inconsistencies in the original account, pointing to possible foul play. Autopsy results showed fresh bruises, suggesting assault. Despite ongoing debates, no definitive conclusion has been reached. Natasha Gregson Wagner, Wood's daughter, continues to seek the truth, asserting her stepfather's deep love for her mother and rejecting conspiracy theories. Montgomery Clift. Montgomery Clift had the most earnest of faces, big, pleading eyes, a set jaw, and an immaculate side part. He embodied desperation, drunkenness, and deceit, with a life trajectory as tragic as his films. A car crash during his career left him in constant pain, leading him to drink himself to an early death, establishing an aesthetic of suffering that defines his legacy. For 12 years, Clift set Hollywood ablaze. From the start, Clift was a rebel and an individual. Arriving in Hollywood without a contract, he negotiated a 3-picture deal with Paramount after his first 2 films succeeded, demanding discretion over his projects, a rare move that redefined star-studio relationships for decades. The press admired his skill and beauty, but also labeled him offbeat and weird. Clift maintained a New York residence, avoiding Hollywood's social scene, surviving on simple meals, and immersing himself in literature and court cases to observe humanity. Clift's disregard for appearances earned him the title Rumpled Movie Idol. His reluctance to conform made him a symbol of 1950s youth culture, rebelling against post-war conformity. However, Clift despised the image imposed on him, striving to present his true self despite relentless gossip. His close friendships and concealed sexuality added to his enigmatic persona, making him a gay icon revealed decades later. Clift earned Oscar nominations for A Place in the Sun and From Here to Eternity, solidifying his reputation alongside Brando and Dean. A devastating car accident during the filming of Raintree County marked the beginning of his decline. Persistent pain, heavy drinking, and failed projects led to his demise in 1966 at age 45. Clift remains a symbol of Hollywood's fragile genius, forever frozen in his tragic, powerful performances. Judy Holiday. Judy Holiday stands as a shining example of classic Hollywood's golden age, celebrated for her impeccable comedic timing, endearing screen presence, and her memorable portrayal of strong, relatable characters. Born Esther Williams Freydig on June 18, 1921 in Queens, New York, Holiday's journey to stardom was marked by determination, talent, and a keen sense of humor that resonated deeply with audiences. Holiday's foray into acting began on the stage, where her natural comedic abilities quickly garnered attention. Her Broadway debut in Born Yesterday, 1946, was a pivotal moment in her career. Portraying the spirited and intelligent Billy Dawn, Holiday delivered a performance that earned her the prestigious Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play. This role not only showcased her versatility, but also established her as a formidable talent capable of carrying a production with grace and wit. Transitioning seamlessly to film, Judy Holiday made her screen debut in Born Yesterday, 1950, reprising her award-winning role. Her portrayal of Billy Dawn was met with critical acclaim, earning her the Academy Award for Best Actress. The character's transformation from an uneducated young woman to a sharp-minded individual mirrored Holiday's own professional evolution, endearing her to audiences and critics alike. Throughout the 1950s, Holiday became synonymous with intelligent and charming comedic roles. Films such as It Should Happen to You, 1954, and The Solid Gold Cadillac, 1956, highlighted her ability to infuse humor with depth, creating characters that were both amusing and emotionally resonant. Her performances were characterized by a delightful blend of innocence and cunning, making her a beloved figure in Hollywood. At the height of her career, Judy Holiday's life was tragically cut short. On June 7, 1965, at the age of 47, she succumbed to lung cancer, a disease likely exacerbated by her years of smoking. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn's story took a tragic turn on October 14, 1959, when he passed away at just 50 years old. Officially, his death was due to a heart attack, but it was really the result of a life filled with both incredible success and a lot of personal struggles. In his final days, Flynn was living in Vancouver, British Columbia, pretty much away from the Hollywood spotlight where he once shined so brightly. By the 1950s, his career had started to decline after more than 2 decades in the industry. It wasn't the glamorous ending you might expect for a Hollywood star. On the day he died, Flynn was at his home in Vancouver. He was dealing with increasing financial stress and health problems. People close to him mentioned that his health issues were getting worse because of his lifestyle choices. Flynn was known for his heavy drinking, which had really taken a toll on his liver and overall health. Plus, he had high blood pressure, which made heart problems more likely. Flynn's life was the classic Hollywood mix of big spending, constant traveling, and a whirlwind of relationships. All of this led to a lot of stress and physical strain. His excessive alcohol use not only hurt his liver, but also messed up his heart health, making him more prone to heart attacks. He had been dealing with various health problems, like kidney issues and digestive troubles, which were probably made worse by his drinking and unhealthy diet. Even with these challenges, Flynn kept working, taking on roles that were both physically and emotionally demanding. This meant he wasn't getting the rest or medical care his body really needed. Then, on that unfortunate morning of October 14, 1959, Flynn had a severe heart attack. It was likely caused by a mix of his long-term high blood pressure, heavy drinking, and the overall stress from his demanding lifestyle. Heart disease has always been a leading cause of death, and in Flynn's case, his existing health issues made him especially vulnerable. The heart attack hit him hard and fast, leaving no time to do anything about it. Despite efforts to save him, Flynn was pronounced dead at his home that same day.